Welcome back to Tales Unplugged. So last time we left Alex, he just dropped a bombshell at that dinner party.
Talk about an understatement.
And Rose, well, she had a pretty unexpected reaction to finding out he was the one who actually saved her family, didn't she?
Well, you'd think she'd be over the moon, right? I mean, this is the guy she's been falling for, and he turns out to be her family's secret savior, too.
You'd think. But instead we get icy glares and awkward silences. Poor Alex.
I know. He looked like he wished the ground would just swallow him up. That look on his face when he slipped out of the restaurant.
Talk about a mood killer. One minute he's basking in the glow of Rose's admiration, the next he's practically running for the hills.
It's almost painful to watch, isn't it? You can really feel his disappointment.
It makes you wonder, even with $86 million in the bank, can money really buy happiness?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? But before we dive into the existential crisis of a multimillionaire, there's another little bombshell dropped at the end of the episode.
Oh, right. That phone call. Who was it again?
Mark, the family butler, remember him? Always popping up at the most inconvenient times.
Right. Always so proper and polite. You'd never guess he works for a family that makes Scrooge McDuck look like a pauper. So what did Mark want? Another suit pressed.
Not this time. It seems Alex has a visitor.
A visitor? At this hour? Who is it? The pizza delivery guy?
Not quite. Remember Ken Stokes, the head of the East Coast division of Alex's family's business.
Oh, wow, the big leagues. I guess you could say that's a little more important than deciding on pepperoni or extra cheese.
Just a tad. So we've got Alex already reeling from the disastrous dinner, now facing a potential showdown with a high-ranking member of the family he's been desperately trying to avoid.
Talk about adding insult to injury. This Ken Stokes meeting has got to be the last thing Alex wants right now, right?
Especially when he's supposed to be this low-key, average student.
Yeah, blending in goes out the window when you're shaking hands with someone who probably owns half the city.
Exactly. And speaking of drama, while Alex is dealing with his family issues, his roommates are facing a crisis of their own.
Ah, yes, the fallout from Rose and Zane's little joyride.
You know, the one that landed Rose in the hospital?
I still can't believe those two hopped on a motorcycle in the middle of a downpour.
Talk about a recipe for disaster. But anyway, Joe, bless his heart, decides to rally the troops for a hospital visit. Everyone's on board except
Alex. Big surprise there.
Well, he does have that teeny-tiny meeting with a business tycoon to worry about.
Oh yeah, I'm sure grabbing coffee with the guys can wait when you've got family drama of the multi-million-dollar kind brewing.
Priorities, right. So we're left with Alex, bracing himself for a meeting with his past while his friends rush off to comfort the girl he secretly loves.
If that's not a recipe for an emotional roller coaster, I don't know what is.
And that's just the first 15 minutes of the episode. And where is he headed for this little rendezvous with destiny? None other than the Golden Mansion Hotel.
The Golden Mansion. Even the name sounds expensive.
It's practically dripping with wealth.
This is the kind of place where they probably have someone whose sole job is to fluff the pillows, right?
And make sure the caviar is properly chilled.
With diamond-encrusted toothpicks, I bet.
You're probably not far off. The source material describes it as this opulent palace where every detail screams extravagance. Like even the air you breathe probably costs extra in there.
I would be surprised if they pumped in air imported from the Swiss Alps or something.
So imagine Alex, our resident ramen-loving millionaire, walking into this temple of luxury.
Let's talk about a fish out of water.
Well, he's about to have an experience that's even more out of the ordinary for him. You see, he gets into the elevator and...
Let me guess, it's one of those fancy elevators with a chandelier and velvet walls.
Actually, I think they skipped the chandelier, but yeah, probably velvet. Anyway, so he's in the elevator, and as the doors are about to close, who should rush in but...
Don't tell me. Another long-lost relative here to make his life more complicated.
Not this time. It's a woman. And not just any woman. She's described as being absolutely stunning.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What's she look like? Give me the details.
Imagine, like, the most beautiful woman you've ever seen. Elegant, stylish. The kind of woman who could stop traffic.
Or in this case, an elevator.
Exactly.
So, Alex is trapped in an elevator with a woman who could launch 1,000 ships. This is a recipe for disaster, isn't it?
Oh, you know it. And it doesn't disappoint. Alex being Alex. Well, let's just say he's not exactly subtle about checking her out.
Oh, no. He's staring, isn't he?
He's staring.
And she notices.
She notices, and she does not hesitate to call him out on it.
Oh, boy. This is about to get awkward, isn't it? I can already feel the secondhand embarrassment setting in.
Oh, it gets awkward, all right.
So what happens? Does she unleash a verbal smackdown? throw her diamond-encrusted phone at him?
Well, she's definitely not happy about it.
I bet. Being ogled in an elevator is not exactly a dream scenario.
She demands to know what he's looking at.
And what does Alex do?
What do you think he does? He panics.
Classic Alex. So he stammers out some kind of apology, right?
Not even an apology, really. More like well, it's kind of incoherent, actually.
You've got to give us more than that. What does he say?
It's less about what he says and more about how he says it. The source material describes it as a jumbled mess of denials and excuses. You know, the usual, I wasn't looking at you. I mean, I was looking, but not like that kind of thing.
Oh no, it's like watching a car crash in slow motion. You know it's going to be bad, but you can't look away.
And of course, this being Alex, it gets worse.
Of course it does. What could possibly make this more awkward?
Well, remember how she was in a hurry? Adjusting her necklace, trying to ignore him.
Right. Probably late for a meeting with a bunch of CEOs or something where they sip champagne and discuss billion-dollar deals.
Exactly. So she turns her back to him, and Alex, well...
He keeps staring, doesn't he? The man just can't help himself.
Nope. And to make matters worse, all that staring must have really gotten to him because in a moment of pure Insta Millionaire absurdity, he gets a nosebleed.
You're kidding. A nosebleed. Seriously.
Seriously. And not just a little trickle either. We're talking a full-blown gusher.
Oh no. This is a disaster.
You can say that again. The woman is mortified. I mean, she was furious before, but now she's just horrified.
I don't blame her. I'd be pretty grossed out too if some random guy started spraying blood in my direction.
And of course, the elevator doors choose that exact moment to open.
Talk about bad timing. So, what happens next? Does Alex try to explain? Does he offer her his shirt to clean up the mess?
I think at this point, words fail him. The source material just says he mumbles something about bad timing as she rushes past him and out of the elevator.
Bad timing. That's the best he could come up with.
Hey, in his defense, the man just had a nosebleed in front of the most beautiful woman he's ever seen. I think his brain was probably short-circuiting.
Fair enough. But you know what they say about first impressions?
Yeah, I don't think he'll be forgetting this one anytime soon.
So is that it? Does he just let her walk away?
He does actually try to follow her, finds her outside the bathroom and apologizes.
Oh no, really? Talk about embarrassing. I can't even imagine what I would say in that situation.
But she doesn't stick around long. She's already late for her meeting, remember? Just tells him that if she wasn't in such a rush, she'd call the cops. And then, poof, she's gone.
Wow. Talk about a brush with disaster.
It's a classic case of Alex being in way over his head.
So, what did we learn from this week's episode? Money can't buy happiness. Always carry a handkerchief. And for heaven's sake, if you ever find yourself in an elevator with a beautiful woman, try not to stare or have a spontaneous nosebleed.
Words to live by.
Until next time on Tales Unplugged, keep those theories coming.